indicated on radar, and still a pretty good spin, at least above the ground. I'm not necessarily seeing a tight circulation at the ground, but regardless, that tornado warning goes until 3:45 Central Time, so for about the next 25 to 30 minutes. And realize that every couple of minutes we're getting a scan here, so you should be in your safe place if you're in Louisville, Doster, Clio, Blue Springs, Lindsay, and just south of Clayton as well. This does not include the city of Eufaula. With that said, there is a severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of northern and central Barber County, west of the 431 corridor. And that is because of some strong winds on the order of up to 60 miles per hour with this line of storms as it moves through. This is the only active warning that we have in our area, but this is the strongest part of the line right now. And you see those little kinks in the line. We have maybe some embedded rotation in there, but also some very strong winds. Anytime you're talking about those winds right out ahead of this line, that's where you have basically some of the strongest winds on the order of 50 to 60 miles per hour. So again, the storm coming out of Pike County, also extending up into Bullitt County, not the tornadic part of the storm, but the severe thunderstorm part of the system. That's going to be moving into western Barber County. And quite frankly, we should be treating this seriously as well if you're in the severe thunderstorm warning, like from Clayton northward. So again, we could see how that line of storm stretches up through Union Springs, in eastern Macon County, southern and southwestern Lee County, basically near Auburn. You go down College Street, approaching Marvin. This is not a severe part of the storm, but it still could be producing 40-mile-per-hour winds. Also along I-85 in Valley and LaGrange, we're looking at some very gusty winds here as well. But again, the severe thunderstorm warning, or I should say the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning, is for Barber County. We can see several warnings now to our south over the Wiregrass area, including Henry County in Alabama, but we have that tornado warning that is in effect for Barber County. That goes into effect until 3:45. Latest update from the National Weather Service says the storm capable of producing a tornado is near Brundage, moving east at 45 miles per hour. There's some radar indicated rotation here that we're watching, and I'll show you that here as we zoom in right over Richland in Pike County as it moves very close to western Barber County. So very broad rotation from what I'm seeing, but nonetheless rotation. And so we should take that seriously. Locations impacted include Clio, Louisville, Blue Springs, Tyler Crossroads, also Texasville, the Blue Springs area. You get the state park as well, and then Miller's Ford. This is moving to the east. You should take cover right now. If you're not already, you need to be taking cover. Louisville, Clio, Blue Springs, and places like that in southwestern Barber County. This does not include Clayton, does not include Eufaula especially, but as the storm continues to migrate toward the east at a pretty good clip, we're going to be watching that carefully. So let me give you some streets that we're looking at. This circulation on radar, this rotation is crossing Alabama 10 right now. So if you live near Big Creek Church, Falk Church, the Hickory Hill Church area in southwestern Barber County, you need to seek shelter right now. You're within about 5 to 10 minutes of being impacted by this possible tornado. Also, if you live anywhere near Blue Springs Church, Pine Hope Church, Pea River Presbyterian Church, down toward Antioch Church, we have the basically just north of Atkinsville there and north of Doster. I think the storm with the strongest circulation is going to stay just to your north, but it certainly bears watching as well. We still have that rotation basically just south of Alabama Highway 10. It is going to cross into Barber County here very soon. It's important to know that it's dark. You're not going to be seeing any of that rotation if you look out the window. It's just too dark. It's also rain wrapped. We rarely see tornadoes visible here, so just realize that we have that as well. and so you need to take immediate shelter if you're in southwestern Barber County. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued that includes much of Lee and Russell counties. We've really had a pretty quiet last couple hours as these storms, once they pushed out of Montgomery, and we had a few severe thunderstorm warnings in Wetumpka near Elmore County. There's been kind of a lull in the activity, but it seems like a little rise in the activity and some of the strong damaging wind potential here in the last few minutes. So new severe thunderstorm warning that could produce a tornado at any time briefly for the eastern 2/3 of Lee County and all of Russell County. This goes until 4:30 Central Time, and it includes Pittsview, Seal, Hurtsboro, Ladonia, Crawford, technically Phoenix City and Smith Station, Auburn, Beauregard, the Marvin community, as well as up toward Beulah. So this is a line of storms, and a lot of times it's really tricky to kind of pinpoint exact rotation. So that's why we think that basically strong winds are the most widespread thing, and we've been saying that for the last couple of days. As some of these storms would come through, the damaging wind potential is the highest. So I just want to dissect this severe thunderstorm warning real quick. It's coming out of the Beauregard and Society Hill area, and also down toward Midway, moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So not as quick as some thunderstorms move that are severe around this area, but nonetheless, we are looking at that. There might be a little weak rotation if you're in the Watley Crossroad area north of Marvin, but strong winds are the main thing. Near Wautulla Methodist Church, could be looking at some very strong winds right now. Again, that could technically produce a brief tornado at any time, but it's not as likely at this point. With this kind of setup, we have kind of a damaging wind potential mainly as it moves through southern parts of Lee County. So as I put a track on this line of storms as it moves out of eastern Macon County, southern Lee and central Lee County, moving toward the east at roughly 30 miles per hour. I'll show you some of the ETAs for this storm here. I'll widen out just a little bit more and let you get your bearing here. This line of storms, which again may have just a little embedded rotation, moving to the east at roughly 30 miles per hour. So an ETA here, Phoenix City, that would be around 5 after the hour. So you still got a ways to go there. Smith Station around 3:45. That would be Central Time. Of course, you're on Eastern Time. Our system doesn't think so. Hurtsboro around 3:30, so you have about 5 minutes to prepare for that severe thunderstorm. So that's the line of storms that we're looking at. It looks like the tornado warning for Barber County continues until 4:45 Eastern, 3:45 Central Time. That continues as the storm right now is moving into Barber County. So if you're basically in southwestern Barber County, you need to particularly take shelter just in case the storm is producing that tornado. But honestly, all the way up through the western and central part of Barber County, just realize that a strong damaging wind potential exists here, and we need to treat these severe thunderstorm warnings basically as tornado warnings at this point. We've seen a little uptick in the activity as far as producing some potentially damaging wind gusts here as of late. So you see it right around Midway, and then just west of Louisville and back toward the Pike and Barber County line, we have that wave of storms that's moving through. And it's a line of storms. This isn't just a singular cell that's necessarily easy to track on radar when you're looking for rotation. In this area, let's see at the latest velocity, and we just don't have a whole lot of tight rotation here, but I'm looking at maybe another little circulation of strong gusty winds, at least as you go up toward west central Barber County, just west of Alabama 51 there, west of Louisville, but mainly just some very strong winds here. I'll try to pinpoint some of these winds a little bit just to show you 60 to 45-mile-per-hour winds, and again, just a little weak rotation may be setting up there as well. So that's something that we're going to watch. Clayton, I want you to go ahead, and if you're not in your safe place, go ahead and get to your safe place just in case, because that is kind of heading toward you, that line of very gusty winds as well. And again, just a little bit of a notch there on radar that we're keeping a very close eye on. So right near Mount Nebo Church, west of Clayton. Even though you're not technically in a tornado warning, I want you to be keeping this real here and just realizing that pockets of damaging wind certainly possible, but we could see technically a brief tornado, as far as I'm concerned, pop up. And it doesn't matter if you have 60, 70-mile-per-hour winds, whether it's straight line or rotating, that's still going to do some damage. So if it comes down at the wrong place at the wrong time, that's not necessarily going to be good at all. So you need to make sure that if you are in this whole polygon area, which now basically extends from Auburn and Beulah and Opelika all the way down really into North Florida right now, all along this line, you should be taking this seriously. Eventually it's going to go into West Georgia, and we expect to see some of that kind of moving into our Georgia counties, but we're going to be tracking that over the next couple hours. So let's not get too in the weeds now. Meteorologist Dana Barker just walked in, and so he's going to be monitoring things as well as we go throughout the next couple hours here as we track this line of storms. Again, tornado warning goes for Barber County. Pike County is removed from that tornado now. Tornado warning. Barber County, the warning goes until 3:45 Central Time, and so that's what we're looking at there. So we look at some of the storms over Louisville, back to the west of Clayton, just a couple areas of rotation that we're watching. Again, really it's a long embedded line of storms. There may be a little weak rotation, but mainly just strong winds there in western Barber County. Got to take that seriously here. Any one of these kinks could briefly produce some rotation even as you go into western Russell County and central Lee County. Quick look at the radar picture showing you some of those storms that are moving from Marvin and the Beauregard community over to the east toward Griffin Mill and Beulah, seeing the storms eventually Smith Station as we go into the next 10 or 15 minutes as well. So a long line of storms that for the last couple hours has been behaving, but all of a sudden it's hitting and tapping into just a little bit more energy where the winds can get a little bit stronger potentially in spots. Now realize that not all along this line are we going to see damaging weather, but pockets along here, as we've said for the last couple of days, could get certainly a little rowdy. So again, it's 4:31 Eastern Time, 3:31 Central Time. I'm meteorologist Tyler Allender. Dana Barker is here as well, who we are going to be monitoring the storms over the next couple hours as they begin to migrate eastward. And they've been kind of rumbling here for the last hour or two in our area, but we haven't seen them reach levels like this yet until just the last 15 to 20, 25 minutes or so. Looks like that tornado warning has been dropped for Barber County. That is good news. Tornado warning no longer includes Barber County. Great news there. But as you can see, we have a whole line of severe thunderstorm warnings. And basically the white polygon or the white outline around that severe thunderstorm warning tells us that the National Weather Service says that a tornado is possible at any time. I'd really argue that the same could be said for the Barber County one as well, but that one was put out before the tornado warning was put out. So again, we have a line of storms moving through, and I'll track it out in just a minute, give you some ETAs. It's moving a little slower than some lines do as they move through. This is called a quasi-linear convective system, QLCS, or a squall line, as we called it in the old days, but sometimes they tend to rotate just a little bit in embedded areas, not all along the line, but little kinks in the line can rotate just a little bit. And so out ahead of that, you can get really strong gusty winds, but also this is the type of thing where you can see just a brief little tornado that forms. Again, no tornado warning now for our area. That's great news, but we certainly have active severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from Beulah and Smith Station. Storm has pushed out of Auburn. It goes down through Marvin. It's approaching Hurtsboro. It goes into western Barber County. Here's a track on this storm, and let me just make sure I'm getting the speed right. I think it's moving somewhere around 30 miles an hour, 30 to 40 miles an hour. So as we look at this line of storms, kind of put a estimated track on it to give you a real-time look at where this is moving. It's going to be moving toward the east here, and we look at this. Well, that's a real rough estimate further out, but you could see as we head toward Phoenix City, maybe toward the top of the hour, so right around 5 o'clock Eastern time, a little bit before. Columbus just after 5. Cuthbert, for instance, still about an hour and 15, hour and 30 out from you, but more or less the storms will kind of remain at least somewhat intact for a while, with a line of rain and storms moving through our area, pushing toward the east. Looks like there's a new alert that came down. Let me just make sure I'm seeing that. Severe thunderstorm warning for Meriwether and Harris County as well. That goes until 5:15. So right along this line, we're going to have several severe thunderstorm warnings that come up over the next little bit, probably the next couple hours off and on. And so as we look at that warning, basically that includes Hamilton, Tobleton, Thomaston, up toward Greenville, Manchester, Warm Springs, and the southeastern part of LaGrange. That will go until 5:15 or so. Let's see, 5:15 Eastern time. So again, this is kind of getting into the setup where, you got to kind of treat these severe thunderstorm warnings seriously. A lot of times we kind of brush them off and say, oh good, it's not a tornado warning. However, you still have to be in a safe place. You don't necessarily have as much rotating wind, but all it takes is one tree to come down, and that can end up with some horrible results if it comes down on a car or a roof or something like that. So again, several severe thunderstorm warnings that we're watching as this line of storms has kind of perked up over the last couple of maybe 30 minutes or so, and it continues to move toward the east. So Columbus to Lumpkin, Fort Benning, Casita, you're not getting anything yet, but this is pretty much right on schedule. This line of storms is moving eastward, somewhere around 30 miles per hour. We have those severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect for our area, and damaging winds upwards of 60 miles per hour should be expected with some of these storms as they migrate toward the east. And every little bit, every once in a while, we're seeing just little kinks in the line. For instance, I'll show you right around Clayton as some gusty winds are coming through, and every once in a while where that wind where that line kind of bends around a little bit, that's very gusty winds. Not seeing any rotation from that necessarily, but you see just kind of little appendages there showing up every now and then on the radar imagery, and this extends up into northeastern Lee County as well. I will say that gusty, damaging winds are the primary threat, as we've said for the last couple of days, in pockets. It's not going to be all along that line, but it certainly is possible somewhere within that line. That's why the National Weather Service in Birmingham, great people, by the way, great meteorologists, they have taken the precedent and expectation that we could have some severe weather reports along this line. So hearing about reports of power lines down in Opelika along Hunter Street. Hunter Street a little farther down has a tree down as well being reported thanks to the emergency management folks there in Lee County. So again, this is what we're looking at in terms of lightning. By the way, I just want to take a look at that. I know sometimes that wake some people up, and we're seeing a decent amount of some lightning strikes, not as much as what we had the other night, Monday night or so, but southern parts of Lee County seeing quite a bit of lightning, western Russell County, southeastern Bullock County, and then into western portions of Barber County. So while again the tornado warnings from earlier were canceled for southeastern Pike, western Barber County, we still are looking at multiple severe thunderstorm warnings that go from Barber County through Russell, Lee, Harris, and Meriwether counties at the moment, and that will continue. Also a little portion of Troop too. So lots of data to kind of unpack here as well as we look at the overall loop for the last 3 hours. This is the radar loop. You can kind of see the progression of the storms, and they're just a little bit more beefier now as they're moving in to parts of Lee County at the moment. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued for parts of Barber County too. So this one adds that tornado tag that I was talking about earlier. So now they've gone with that consistent theme pretty much of tornado possible tags, what we call the possibility of a brief tornado basically spinning up anywhere along the edge of this line of storms as it moves through. That's what the polygon is going to show you in that white outline. So new severe thunderstorm warning further extended into Columbus, Muskogee County, Chatco, Stewart County, Webster County, even Marion County, Talbot County. So, you know, by the time it's all is said and done, a lot of us might be under some of those severe thunderstorm warnings at some point this morning. You could just see all the counties that are covered in that, and those eastern warnings go until 5:30 or so. So I'll tell you what we do. I know a lot of people's weather radios might have just went off, or maybe your app just went off if you live in our area. A lot of new warnings just came out, so let's just go ahead and track some of that for us and see kind of the ETA for some of these storms. We're looking at some of the talk from the National Weather Service to make sure I'm not missing anything there. And, you know, we're keeping this severe thunderstorm warning going for several counties for a while. As we look at these latest severe thunderstorm warnings, basically this line of storms moving roughly east at 35 miles per hour or so. We've seen some that, you know, move a lot quicker than this. And as I put a track out on these with a movement around 35 miles per hour, starting up in southeastern Troop County, going through central Lee County, western Russell County, and also western and central Barber County. Here's kind of some ETAs for you, the overall track and where the timeline that we're looking at.
Tornado warning for central Barber again.
Okay, and I could see that on that rotation or that reflectivity, so we'll get to that in a second. 511 Columbus, 535 Lumpkin, and 559 Beta Vista. Make sure you are ready for some of these storms, which could spark a brief tornado at any time. Nasty little signature coming in there. I just saw that as I was panning down the radar. Little hook there, if you will, a little jet out in the storms over central parts of Barber County. This one has been showing signs off and on here of producing some rotation. So that's just to the north and east of Clayton. If you're in that area, you need to be seeking shelter right away as the storm is moving fairly quickly. Again, new tornado warning has been issued for Barber County. This is, let's see, where are they? Let's see, east central Barber County. Storm located over Barber County Public Lake Dam, moving east at 40 miles per hour. So that's the storm right there.
Yep. The thing to note too, it also includes City of Eufaula in this one too, with all the way the Lake Eufaula state line.
State line.
Yep.
Which earlier they were not included.
Yep.
So yes, good point there. And that's moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. So we'll go ahead and track this out a little bit. I'm going to go back to this just because it's a little bit of a beefier storm, if you will, and I'll put the track on it. Moving to the east, still roughly 20-25 minutes away from Eufaula. So they're about 4:03 Eufaula. So let's just say 4 o'clock around the Country Club and Eufaula. We're looking at that storm. Also includes up toward the airport, and then Georgetown just about 8 after the hour. Technically, you're not in the warning, but you would be the next kind of community on the other side of this as well. So, Dana, if you want, in a couple minutes, I'll help steer the radar for a little bit, and I'll let you talk a little bit from the wall if you want.
Yeah, we can do that a couple minutes. Yeah, and then we can just tag team it. Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So as we look at this tornado warning that's again, new one for Barber County. This is now includes areas from central Barber County all the way to the 431 corridor. So if you're anywhere near Cotton Hill, if you're near Alabama 30, back up to Alabama, or really State Highway 82, you should be taking shelter right now. So Batesville, Lugo, Osco, I want you all in your safe place. Put as many walls between you and the outside. There's Eufaula. You too should be in that safe place. Even though the storm is roughly 15-20 minutes away, it's going to be moving through at the top of the hour. So as we head toward 5 Eastern, 4 Central, those storms are going to be getting right into the heart of historic Barber County. As we go farther up to the north, that line of storms extends. We could see, wouldn't surprise me, a brief tornado warning or brief tornado for that matter pop up. It might not even be detected by radar. It's just the nature of this line of storms as it moves through Lee County and Russell County at the moment. Also seeing just a little bit of a little notch there approaching Hatchetchubby as well. So we're going to watch anytime we get these little kinks in the line. Really strong winds there at the very least. So I'm just going to look at that real quick as we look at Alabama Highway 26. Seeing some pretty good velocity returns there, some gate-to-gate shear on the order of 70 to maybe 80 miles an hour there. Not super tight, it might be just off the ground, but in other words, some rotation at least above the ground, and it could briefly go to the ground at any time. That's why we have all these severe thunderstorm warnings that are up. And if you read the text from the National Weather Service, of course, we don't issue those warnings. The National Weather Service does. We're here to relay them for you. But it mentions that a tornado could spin up at any time. This line is going to be migrating east fairly quickly on the order of about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So giving you a big heads up if you're in Lumpkin and up toward Chatco, Upatoy, Midland as well, and some storms too pushing in from Lee County into northwestern Harris County at the moment as well. So all these storms migrating to the east at roughly 30 to 40 miles per hour, and we will certainly be watching that. Haven't had many reports because obviously it's still really early. Most people aren't out and about, but we have heard of some trees down and some power outages in the Opelika area right around, we also the Veterans Parkway area, 900 block, and also along Hunter Street too. Looks like a new tornado warning now for Russell County. Yep. Just came down.
That's the one from you were watching just now, Tyler. Yeah. Good call on that one, Hatchetchubby one. Yep.
Hatchetchubby. So we were just talking about that a couple minutes ago. So this is kind of like, oh, look at that. Pretty good little circulation.
Yep.
So you should be in your safe place. If you're in Seal, Sandfort,
Fort Mitchell.
Fort Mitchell.
Yeah. The whole 165 corridor basically from Switchy, or actually from where the Mead plant is, from the paper mill all the way up to the 431 intersection right there, need to be in shelter.
Need to be in a safe place. And the air is warm. We've certainly had the humidity for the last few days and the warmth for the last couple of weeks, so it's tapping into a pretty favorable environment here. But yeah, this is a pretty good rotation, and you need to be keeping an eye on this.
I would argue, Tyler, the one in Russell looks more impressive than the one in Barber does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing as much rotation in the Barber County one. It says National Weather Service in Birmingham closely watching. Still a few spots in that line, apparently, in Barber County, but just west of Seal in Russell County, you need to be in your safe place. Yep. If you're in Seal, back toward Fort Mitchell, Oswechee, and extending basically up to where 165 kind of meets up with 431 and all that.
Hey, Tyler, turn that to reflectivity real quick, and you can kind of see the one in Russell has actually a hook on. Look, yeah, you can see it in reflectivity. It kind of jumps out at you.
Yeah, and the one earlier in Barber County, not showing that as much, especially initially when we hopped on the air a little after 4:10 or 4:15 Eastern. But again, here we are at 4:48 Eastern, 3:48 Central Time. Tornado warning includes Russell County. If you're in Seal, if you're in Oswego, if you're up toward Fort Mitchell, and also basically South Phoenix City, you need to be in that safe place right now. Put as many walls between you and the outside. Get into that lowest level. I know the sirens might be going off. You can't always hear those though, but if you're tuning in to check out what's going on, we have 2 tornado warnings, one in Russell, one in Barber County. It's this line of storms that's kind of producing some little hooks along that line, and that will continue to be a little favorable for producing strong damaging winds in spots and maybe even a bit of a tornado risk as well. So there's one of those little kinks in the line that we were talking about over the middle of Barber County. Still got a little bit to watch this before it moves toward Eufaula, but you can see right over Batesville to just west of Osco and Lugo, right along the Highway 82 corridor, and now pushing north of Alabama 30. That's where we got to watch this, and then extending up with that storm that formed right over Hatchachubby. National Weather Service put out that tornado warning, and I was seeing some rotating winds in different directions of about 80 miles an hour about 10 minutes ago. We got to be taking this seriously and be in our safe place. As we go into the northern part of that line, it's not as ominous, but it's still some strong damaging winds that are certainly possible with this. So again, 2 tornado warnings that we're tracking, one in Russell, one in Barber County. I'll just give you the latest expiration times for those so we can get you all caught up. And that tornado warning for Barber County goes until 4:30 Central Time, goes to Eufaula. For Russell County, it goes until 5:30 Eastern Time, so same time essentially. Makes sense with that line moving through the area. Tornado warning remains in effect for Barber County. Storm located over White Oak. It is still 10 miles from Eufaula, but it's moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. So you got to be ready, Eufaula, for this storm that will at least produce some pockets of damaging wind potentially, but could produce a brief spin-up tornado as well. So Meteorologist Dana Barker is here monitoring things as well, and we're going to watch that line as it continues to move up all the way through Russell County, Dana.
Yep, indeed. If you can just take me on, yeah, there we go. Take me on Max. Let's go to what? Were you on 2 or 1? 2. Yeah. If you can take Max 2, take
I'll drive it.
Okay. Yeah. That way, Tyler can kind of drive things here. You see the difference in these 2 here. This is the one in Barber County tornado warning right now. This is the one though. You got kind of that hook shape, kind of that sickle shape there to that storm here. And if you look at velocity too, I notice the velocity. It kind of looks more like that. See how this one's kind of straight? This one's more of like that yin-yang shape. It has the velocities, the red kind of folding into that green right here. This tells me right here, this is a more potent circulation up here than that one is in Barber. Not to say if you're in Eufaula to let your guard down, but I think this one right here, heading right along Highway 26 here. 26 comes out from Seal over toward Hurtsboro right here. So riding right along 26 here. So this is Seal right about here. Russell County High School is right here. And yeah, Tyler's super zooming it in for me here. This 26 right here. This is Sanford Road. This is County Road 22 that comes up here. Then 169 comes down here. Silver Run Church. You got Russell County High School about right here in Seal. So anywhere in this area right here near the city of Seal, it's going to come right across Seal, and then it'll come on out here on the 165 corridor. So if you're anywhere here, Hatchachubby, I think you're fine. Here's a new scan right here. So right here on 26 and 431, the 4-lane that comes around Seal and goes up toward Phoenix City here. This would be where the rotation would be, heading off toward the east here. So Lato over toward the Oswego area, and again, the 165 corridor is right here. So you got Fort Mitchell, Oswego, down toward Cottonton, Holy Trinity, the mead plant down there, the paper mill down here, even with Omaha and Georgia. So anywhere north of there, I would say. But again, the big really risk right now is Seal. If you're anywhere in Seal here, and here's some of the arrival times here. So Lato in about 7 minutes here, around 5 a.m. Eastern time. Knuckles around 4:03, and then Lawson Airfield, Fort Benning. So the warning's not for Chatco. No, the warning's not for Georgia yet, but should this rotation stay potent, we might be extending that to southern Muskogee, northern Chattahoochee. So be on guard in Fort Benning for that storm as well. Tyler?
And they actually just issued a tornado warning for Muskogee and Chatco now. So right on cue as that line of storms kind of moves farther to the east, producing that possible rotation. So yeah, we're kind of tracking these storms as they come in real time here. And again, new tornado warning, sirens going off. We have the weather radios going off if you're in Muskogee County and Chattahoochee County. It's important to note, though, that if you're in Midland, you're not in this. If you're in uptown or midtown Columbus, you're not in this. It's the southwestern corner of Muskogee County.
And the good thing, too, thank you, Chance Corbett. Of course, they only go off for that part of the county now. So if you're in Midland, Upatoy, Midtown, you're not hearing a siren, that's by design. You shouldn't hear a siren. It's only for that polygon area in the southwest corner of Muskogee. Exactly.
So, and same thing for your app. If you have it on Follow Me, the WTVM weather app, it's not going to go off if you're anywhere basically north of Buena Vista Road and St. Mary's Road. It's not intended for that. With that said, there's still a severe thunderstorm warning, but we just don't have the signature of a tornado in that area. So again, if you're in the heart of Russell County, this is getting ready to cross 431 here, and basically right over Seal down to Pittsview, strong winds. And then we also have that rotation that we're keeping an eye right over the Lugo community as well. It'll be moving toward Eufaula in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Just checking the latest scan here, and we just don't, as Dana was saying, don't see as tight of a rotation for this storm in Barber County, but still it could produce at any time. Seeing a couple other little kinks in the line there over southern Russell County, southwest of Pittsview.
Hey, Tyler, if you take correlation coefficient out of Rucker real quick and see, it looks like we might have a little bit of a drop there with the Russell storm just to the northwest, or I'm sorry, Maxwell, MXX. Okay. So you take it from there and see just northwest of Seal. I don't know if that's clutter or if that's correlating with, no, that's more clutter. Okay, that's the same view I'm looking at. Yeah, that's a lot of clutter in there. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yep.
There's a lot to analyze when you're looking at this line of storms, especially. It's kind of tricky when it's a whole line of storms. So not seeing debris or anything lofted technically, but just realize that we have some very strong winds at least, and a tornado warning underway because of a circulation rotation that's showing up on the radar right now. A tornado warning goes in effect for 4:30 Central Time until 4:30 Central Time, which most of Russell County is on Eastern Time. 5:30 Eastern Time for northeastern Russell County. We have a couple trees down reported in the Beauregard community, Lee Road 11, after some storms moved through earlier. Again, some of these storms have had a history of producing few sporadic trees down, power lines down, and things like that. And now with this rotation right over further south into the line, as we go towards Seal and Pittsview, we're looking at some of those stronger storms.
Another interesting one now in southern Russell. It's not warned. It's in between these two, right on the Russell near Glenville. Yes. That one, yeah, you're right there. Look at velocity, and you can kind of see it right there. That little curly Q. Yep. So that's in between. That's not warned, but if that holds together, that's going to be the bottom of 165 here. That's going to be more of a Omaha, Louisville, northern Stewart problem if that heads off toward the east.
Yes. Storms are moving. You know, the good news is they're not moving as quick as they could with this particular setup. They're moving about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So there's some time, and we've had kind of some leadway with these storms in most communities to kind of prepare for this as it moves through. It's 4:56, almost 4:57 Eastern Time, 3:57 Central Time, and we are tracking a line of storms that's severe. We've mentioned for the last couple of days that we could see some embedded pockets of severe thunderstorms there, but we also have some indications of maybe some brief tornadoes forming along that line as well. So four. Let's see, the Barber County warning has been dropped now. Yep. No, it hasn't. Yes, it has. So really it's Russell, northern Stewart, Chatco, and Muskogee County. So southern parts of Muskogee County does not include much of Midtown or Uptown Columbus. It's far south Columbus toward Fort Benning, and then Fort Mitchell, where we've been watching that storm, over to Fort Benning, and then the northwestern corner of Stewart County. So these storms, as they're moving to the east, I'm not seeing that hook as much, Dana.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a couple of scans and it's gone. You're right.
But still kind of some broad rotation there. Yep. Near Uchi School.
Yep, and it looked the one down looks like right on the Russell Barber line, south of Glenville. Looks like that one's getting its act together. There, yeah, that one down there.
So if you're in between Holy Trinity and Cottonton, I need you to go into that safe place, even though there's no formal warning for you. I mean, I guess technically there's a severe thunderstorm warning, but you should get into that safe place because we're seeing some indications of rotation for sure. Pittsview, Glenville area, heading toward Holy Trinity and Cottonton. And then eventually maybe western Stewart County as well. So here's the deal. We have this whole line of storms, and let me just kind of set things up for you as we near the top of the hour. We're all under a tornado watch. That tells us that severe weather is possible. Damaging winds are the primary threat, but you know, any moment we could see a brief tornado or two like what we're seeing happening for the last 30 to 45 minutes or so. So tornado watch for all of us. This is going to be an ongoing threat for the next couple hours. Probably not going to last past 7:30 or 8 o'clock though. These storms are getting ready to cross the Chattahoochee River, and they are going to continue to produce some severe weather at times, or at least be capable of producing severe weather. We've had some trees down in Smith Station, 1100 block of Lee Road 240. Opelika has had some near Hunter Road earlier, reports there as well. But the current tornado warning goes for central Russell County. It's the storm that's basically entering the eastern part of the county, heading toward Fort Mitchell, Fort Benning, and we're tracking that. And then farther to the south in Henry County, outside of our coverage area, there's that tornado warning that continues. A lot of other severe thunderstorm warnings, but just realize that at any point, sometimes not easily upgraded to a tornado warning. It can't be caught in time because the rotation tightens up and for a couple of scans, and then it goes back to normal. So sometimes it can't always be caught quick enough. But I think in general, there's enough lead time here that if you're all the way to Marion, Talbot, Webster County, you want to be alert as we go through the next hour or so as these storms march to the east. So it's right at the top of the hour now. I'm meteorologist Tyler Allender. Meteorologist Dana Barker is here as well, and we're keeping an eye on some storms that were strong as they entered Tallapoosa County, western Lee County, western Chambers County earlier. But now, as the storms have moved a little farther to the east, we've had a handful of tornado warnings and several severe thunderstorm warnings as well as these move toward the east. The current one that we're watching the most with the most interest is through Russell County. That's been kind of the strongest part of the storm here. For the most part, we're seeing gusty wind, strong damaging wind signature, which you don't want to underestimate that. You don't want to undermine that potential of, you know, a tree coming down in the wrong place, the wrong spot, the wrong time. But, you know, we're not seeing the rotation as strong as it was, say, about 15 or 20 minutes ago as the storm was moving through Hatchetchubby. So that is the good news. I'll put a quick track on this, and then I'll let Dana say some latest thoughts as well. But as this line of storms, since it's so widespread, it's hard to get kind of into the nooks and crannies of our area. But I want to put a wide track of this, moving at roughly 30 to 40 miles per hour. So you get a sense. If you're in Green Island, you know, you're getting some of the storms right now. Eventually Columbus, some severe weather certainly possible. But as we put a track on this, you could see kind of some rough timeline estimates here. 5:22 Waverly Hall, 5:30 in Lumpkin, 5:45 in Richland, and by the top of next hour, right in an hour from now, in Buena Vista. So these are the storms that are moving to the east fairly quickly, not as quick as they could. Several severe thunderstorm warnings and a couple of tornado warnings that we're watching, Dana.
Yeah, I'm looking there's really probably about 4 rotations along this line that we could really pick out here. The main one is now east of Seal. This is the one that's been tornado warned here. And again, it's for east central Russell. extreme southwestern Muskogee, so South Columbus, if you're down here near Baker Village, down toward the Oxbow Meadows area, Fort Benning, Main Post, down toward there. There's also another one that's getting going north of where the actual warning is. So right here, we got a little bit of a rotation here, heading up really the Stanford Road area. There you see it right here, heading up 431 here, just to the south of where it intersects 165. This is not the one that's tornado warned. This is the one down here that's tornado warned. You can kind of see it right here, just east of Seal. But this one's starting to look more impressive here. And if this one holds together, it's going to head on over to the east-northeast, and it will clip parts of South Columbus here. So, you know, if you're just south here where CVCC is, down that way on 165, just north of there, and here's some of the arrival times here, Baker Village 5:15, St. Mary's area around 5:16, and we're really, you know, we're getting really granular here with the parts of town is going to go across, but really the general idea is going to cross the river here next probably 10 minutes and then be a problem for South Columbus. So I would say, even though you're under a formal tornado warning right now, this is some pretty impressive rotation here outside the actual polygon for the tornado warning, and northeastern Russell County is going to clip really South Phoenix City up here. I think it's going to go south to Seal Road area, but it's going to come on over here north of Oxbow Meadows, and then right here along Victory Drive area down here toward 185. So I'd keep an eye on this one for sure. And of course, this is the one down here, tornado warned. You got another scan here. You know, still kind of holding together here. It's going to cross probably 165 on the northern end here, and then come across right near Oxbow Meadows and South Columbus. So, Tyler, your thoughts on this one too? This one looks more impressive now than the one that's actually tornado warned does.
Yes, absolutely, and that's a tricky thing with this. Yep. You know, it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole with these warnings. A lot of times that's the way it is around here. We don't see long duration tornado events most of the time, or at least a cell that produces consistent tornado. This is a line of storms, and that's even trickier because along that line, right ahead of it, you have some strong damaging winds. But sometimes you get these little nudges, these little appendages in the line that produces a possible tornado at any time. So as this bumps up to the state line here soon, we're going to be switching National Weather Service offices from Birmingham to Peachtree City, but I think the threat's going to overall remain the same. A line of storms, lots of severe thunderstorm warnings, and you got to treat those seriously because at any moment they could briefly produce, or at least potentially produce, a tornado. So right now, as of 5:05 Eastern, 4:05 Central, we have a tornado warning that covers 4 counties. It includes eastern Russell County, the far northern reaches of Stewart County, western Chattahoochee County, and did I say southern Muskogee County yet? Those areas are under that tornado warning that goes into effect for another 30 minutes or so. So it's important to make sure that we're staying on top of this and staying alert. We're looking up and down the line, scanning this and looking to see if anything's standing out. So basically, if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, everybody should just take it safe and seek that safe shelter in your safe place until the storm passes. It doesn't last long in any one spot, maybe about 20 to 30 minutes or so, and then it moves on. And it might not even last that long. As we look up and down the line here, we're searching for some other areas of possible rotation, and we're still seeing that one on the northern side of Russell County, getting kind of into South Phoenix City there, Mount Olive High School, or Mount Olive School, and then basically the Fort Mitchell area. We're seeing that storm producing a little bit of broad rotation. So as we look at some of the winds here, and we're looking at basically some shear that's adding up to the order of about 50 to 60 miles per hour, rotating in different directions, kind of a little bit of a broad circulation right now. We had that other little spot that came through Hatchetchubby's now east of Seal, still heading toward Oswechee, getting ready to cross 165, and that one is a weaker rotation now. And then seeing a little bit of broad rotation in the southeastern corner of Russell County, and getting ready to head over toward Omaha and Florence too. So several areas along this line that we're inspecting very carefully to make sure that you get the best depiction of how these storms are looking. And it looks like that radar keeps coming on, so I'm going to turn that off, turn the Americas radar off for now as we continue to go through. So lots of severe thunderstorm warnings all along this line, stretching from really Harris County and down toward the south as well. Even parts of Meriwether County still under that severe thunderstorm warning too. We look at, looks like a new tornado warning. New tornado warning just issued now for Stewart County, includes western Webster County. This is going to go until 5:45. So for the next 45 minutes, and that's that same one that we've been watching. We were kind of chatting with the National Weather Service behind the scenes about a little bit of rotation in the southern part of Russell County between Pittsview and the Glenview community. And that is Glenville, excuse me. And that is moving toward the east, toward Omaha and Florence, and eventually Lumpkin. So if you're in Lumpkin, Beatrice, Louisville, Brooklyn, Richland, back to Omaha, you need to be in that safe place as well. New tornado warning now includes western parts of Webster County, much of Stewart County, but we also have that one that covers eastern Russell, western Chattahoochee County, and the far southern corner of Muskogee County. So this new storm warning covers basically from South Columbus to Lumpkin. If you're anywhere along the Highway 27 corridor, South Columbus, Fort Benning, all the way down toward Lumpkin, and even a little bit past that, you need to make sure that you're in that safe place. Tornado warnings have been issued for your area. This line of storms is moving to the east, so I just want to check, and you can kind of see these little bends. It's not a straight line of storms. If it was a more solid straight line of storms, there wouldn't be as much of a tornado threat, but we got these little zigzags in the line that kink up and kind of bow out a little bit and produce maybe that possible tornado. And that's what the National Weather Service is looking at the moment, as this is kind of entering, going from eastern Russell County into western Stewart County at the moment. So let me just put on the latest track here with the motion of the storm, and it's moving to the east at 30 to 40 miles per hour. So here's the latest, basically the strongest part of the storm here: southern Muskogee County, eastern Russell County, western Chattahoochee County, western Stewart County. As we kind of put a track on this, here's some of the communities that it impacts in the next little bit, heading toward Lumpkin around 5:30, which we said several minutes ago. Casita around 5:30 as well, back toward Gobbler's Hill around 5:38. So anywhere in those polygons, if you're anywhere in that red shaded area, you have that tornado warning, and you need to be in that safe place. But again, as we've been saying, you probably want to take the severe thunderstorm warnings pretty seriously as well this morning, because a brief tornado can pop up at any time. It doesn't mean that we have a large tornado outbreak that's happening. Doesn't mean that all of these are touching the ground, but we're seeing pockets of damaging wind perhaps, and some brief tornadoes possibly spiking along that line, if you will, and that's what's prompting these tornado warnings. So I think that most ominous look on the radar, Dana, is across southeastern Russell County and now western Stewart County, right over the Florence State Park area.
Yeah, you can see right there, you can kind of see that America's radar right here. You can kind of see that S shape right here. So that's really where the rotation is. The rotation as of now is right over the line here in western Stewart County, and it's going to head right along Highway 39 here. So yeah, you can see that kind of, we got that little curly Q shape right here. Here's where the rotation is. So now it's over the line into Stewart County here, into Georgia, and it's going to head on over toward the east here. So it's going to come right to the north of Lumpkin. If you are in Lumpkin, if you're in Louisville, I need you in shelter right now, and then eventually along this 280 corridor north of Richland, I think, near the Brooklyn area here. So really it's going to come across Omaha and then this Highway 39 right here. So it's on Omaha right about now. So anywhere in the Omaha area, right across the line, yeah, you can see it right now. You kind of see that starting to hook here. And it's looking a lot more evident than the ones up here that are warned for in Russell, Muskogee, and Chattahoochee, northwestern Stewart, I should say. So this is a pretty stout rotation here. This is off of our America's radar, and you can kind of see it right here. Red going away from the radar site, green coming towards. This is right here where you see it, and this is a very impressive right here on our radar here. Green going away from the radar, red going away, I should say, green going towards. This is kind of right here where it is. So again, right on Highway 39 here, north of Florence Marina, but right over Omaha, and again, right down the chute on 39 here toward Louisville. And this is from different, but you can see on different radars too. That's why it looks really impressive here. You can see on different radars here, wind going away, wind going toward, or I'm sorry, wind going, yeah, so here you go. So this is right here, this rotation here. Florence Marina is right here, Omaha's right here, the bridge over to Cottonton, the paper mill is right here. So this is where it would be, just south of Omaha. So if you're anywhere in northern Stewart County, north, I think, of Highway 27, I think you're going to be okay in Lumpkin, but it's going to be a close call. Just out of abundance of caution, you'd be in shelter in Lumpkin. But head on over here toward Louisville. There's Louisville Station, there's Charles, a little community right here on Highway 27 here. If you're anywhere on this 4-lane here, really between the Chattahoochee County line and Lumpkin, you need to be in shelter right now from this tornado, possibly, that will affect you here in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. And this is really the only one on the board right now. We still have a warning here for northeastern Russell and Chatco, the main post of Fort Benning as well, but this one looks much, much more impressive. I would argue it's the most impressive one we've seen so far this morning, Tyler. I don't know if you agree or not here, but yeah, northwestern Stewart County is where we're seeing that rotation here, and very impressive winds here. If we can sample some of these winds here, and yeah, there we go. This is out of Americas too. You kind of see that little barber pole shape there. Every radar that we're looking at gives indication that we got some pretty decent rotation with this storm and a possible tornado. This could be one that could be on the ground pretty quickly here in northwestern Stewart County, and here it is right on Highway 39 here. So again, yeah, velocity 44 miles an hour, negative 45. So take these two together, ignore this gate to gate right here. 45 away and 44, or 45 toward 44 away. That's 89 miles an hour of gate to gate shear. So that's about 90 miles an hour of rotation. So very impressive rotation here in northwestern Stewart County, heading over toward the east here, toward Louisville, down toward the Lumpkin area. And again, I've stressed really important here that if you're in northwestern Stewart County to be seeking shelter. And again, this is America's radar right here. Kind of see that little barber pole shape here and the little kink in the line up here. And this is another radar site. So everything that Tyler's showing you, everything Tyler's throwing at me is showing you that we got something pretty impressive here rotation-wise here in northwestern Stewart County, no matter how you slice it. So again, this is the most serious one on the board here, but we still have that warning though to the north. We do have a couple of rotations here, and those could pretty quickly jump up here and produce some percent tornado or so. But then again, even if it doesn't, we've always said, doesn't matter if winds are going like this or winds are going like that, they can still produce damage here. So this is a line here in Columbus, right across Midtown. Just heard the rainfall here at the station a few minutes ago. So now it's on you in Columbus. It's on Phoenix City as well. And here it goes, still moving toward the east here. So if you're in Smith Station though, Ladonia and west, you're fine. You're done with the severe weather threat. That's a good thing here. But if you're along the line from Fortson to the River Road area, Bradley Park Drive, down here toward Phoenix City, the worst of it is on you right now. And again, these could have little rotations here. The gusty damaging wind threat will probably be south of really Midtown, south of downtown, towards South Columbus and Fort Benning. But again, the big story is that storm here in northwestern Stewart County, that big rotation here, possible tornado heading right along 39 here. So Omaha, Louisville, Brooklyn, north of Richland, north of Lumpkin, that whole northern half of Stewart need to be in shelter right now. Tyler?
Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of put a track on this. Just kind of a estimate, Brooklyn community right around 540 or so for some of the worst weather, and anywhere near the Hanahatchee Wildlife Management Area at Red Hill Church at 541. So these storms are right on the state line, and they're holding together. So just because they're crossing state lines, they're crossing the river, it doesn't mean that they're going to fall apart. That's just kind of a misconception that some people have, or maybe you just misconstrue, some forecasts that you might see from different National Weather Service forecast offices, for instance. That's why we just try to, since we cover both sides of the river, we like to give it to you as real as we can as we see the threats. And for the next really probably hour and a half to 2 hours, we're going to be looking at some pockets of damaging wind possible as this moves to the east. So again, it looks like on the northern side of the line, as Dana was kind of alluding to, basically from near Columbus, even though it's pouring, up toward North Columbus and Waverly Hall and Ellerslie and in Midland, the storms are not so severe now. In fact, the National Weather Service in Peachtree City says they're going to allow the warnings up here to expire, and they have pretty much. Basically, the areas to watch are from Muskogee County, Marion County southward. We have 2 tornado warnings. One includes the southern corner, the southwestern corner of Muskogee County, western parts of Chattahoochee County, and then pretty much a good chunk of Stewart County under the tornado warning, just because we've seen some varying degrees of circulation here. And that radar keeps switching back to Americus. It's still a little far to get a clear view on that, but as we're scanning the from the Maxwell Air Force Base, yeah, that's a pretty mean storm. Kink in the line there as we go into northwestern Stewart County coming out of eastern Russell County. So I know this is one of the best parts of this, and it's to give people the all clear where we can, and we're going to basically draw a line here and show you that if you're basically to the left of this line here, most of East Alabama now, quite frankly at this point, unless you're basically within a few miles of the state line, you are in the clear. And Mr. Dana Barker likes to draw the little smiley face too, so we'll draw that too.
There you go.
There you go. So you can see that little clear side of things. You're clear, maybe not from the rain, but the severe weather threat has passed. If you're to the right of that line, you still have to watch for the potential of severe weather for the next couple hours. And we've had this threat for a couple of days now through about 7 or 8 a.m. and that seems to be holding true. This is probably going to be done through our area by hopefully 7 to 7:30 or so. But over the next little bit, we're going to certainly be tracking these tornado warnings. It's 5:19 Eastern time. Storms are coming from the Alabama side into Georgia and holding together. Nobody in Alabama is under a tornado warning anymore, but we are seeing that still stretching for a good chunk of Stewart County, western Chattahoochee County, southern Muskogee County, and the storms are right on top of some of those locations right now. So we see that very apparent hook in the line right over the border there of Chattahoochee County and Stewart County. This tornado warning technically goes until 5:30, I believe. It goes until 5:30 for 5:45 for Stewart County. That extends to western Webster County. So we'll be tracking that over the next 30 minutes or so, and then we'll see what happens after that. If we can get a little break in the action, I think more or less we're still going to be looking at some pockets of strong damaging winds though. Going into Muskogee County, if you hear the rain coming down, most of the county is fine in terms of no rotation. There could still be very strong winds that we're picking up on radar. And as we're looking at all the different sources here and scanning, let's see, we have still the storms producing some gusty winds, maybe up to southern Harris County. But once you get basically north of Midland and Ellerslie, that threat for severe weather is much lower and is quickly ending as you go up toward northeastern Harris County near Shiloh and back into southeastern Meriwether County. So
of note, Tyler, you said it goes to 46 miles an hour at the airport.
46 at the Columbus Airport.
Yeah, so that's not severe, but it's still, 46 miles an hour can do a little bit of damage.
Right.
Yep.
So there could be some power outages. That might be something that we want to check to see if there's any power outages with about 40 to 50 mile per hour winds reported. We don't have weather stations that observe these wind gusts in every city or town, unfortunately. That would be nice, but it's just not possible. So anytime we can get these moving into a bigger area, it's helpful to note. And the National Weather Service definitely considers that when they might extend this further. They already had the warning going into southern Talbot and Marion County here for a while now, for 20-30 minutes at least. And again, the tornado warnings that are in effect cover a small sliver of Muskogee County. Looks like they just updated the severe thunderstorm warning for basically eastern Chattahoochee County and Stewart County over to Marion and Webster County. And that severe thunderstorm warning looks like it's been extended until 6 o'clock. Basically, some storms, again, still moving at the same speed, roughly 35 miles per hour or so. We could be looking at some pockets of 60 mile per hour winds, or at least very close to that not necessarily all along the line, but anywhere along the line. So the warnings get kind of messy, and it kind of gets a little overwhelming, but I think this normal mode of the radar, what we call the reflectivity, is telling, even from the Americas radar, which is our exclusive radar here at WTVM News Leader 9. We have that also paired up with our sister station in Albany, but you can see the line of storms, but it's not just a line. There's these little appendages that we're seeing, basically southern Chattahoochee County, northern Stewart County, but I don't think the rotation's as stout as it was, right, Dana?
Yeah, it looks like it's really falling apart there. If you, I'm looking at it out of Maxwell, and that's even out of Americas doesn't look really as stout there. We've taken it out of Maxwell too. It's like it's kind of separated out. You still have rotation. Not saying we don't, and it's kind of moving now toward the northeast. So what also happens once these rotations get more shallow, they start kind of taking a left turn too, because they're not really as deep. So the average wind that's hitting it, wind kind of hits it at all the way aloft. It kind of turns and kind of goes more toward the east. Once they get more shallow, they start going toward the northeast. So this one's taking kind of a left turn here. Now it's north of 39, but it still be a problem for Louisville here. So again, heading over toward the east-northeast, maybe toward the northeast here. So if you're still in Louisville, if you're north of 39 from Louisville and maybe even over the line now in Chattahoochee County, even though you're under a former tornado warning, need to be go ahead and seek shelter from this storm. It still could tighten up, produce tornado any time, but again, I do agree with Tyler. You still kind of see that little looks like a candy cane shape there on radar as well out of America. So we still have hallmarks of seeing some decent rotation here and possible tornadic circulation, but it's not as impressive as it was a few scans ago, a few minutes ago, and it was back over here closer to Omaha, northwestern part of the county. But again, if you're in Louisville and you'd be in shelter right now, and again, I would say south of Casita on 27 or down here toward Renfro area, down here in this area here, even need to be in shelter here, because this might go over the line in Chattahoochee County even though you're not under a warning. The warning really goes for northern Stewart, parts of Webster, but this could ride the line here in southern Chattahoochee County. I don't think it's going to be as far north as Chatco. Chatco High School is right here on 26, so anywhere south of 26 here, I would just keep an eye on this storm here in southern Chattahoochee County. But again, it's a main problem right here for Louisville. That being Louisville in a matter of a couple of minutes here. So if you're anywhere in northern Stewart County, north of Lumpkin, Richland, I think you're fine. You're going to be fine. I think you're not in the warning anymore either. I think they took the warning and made it more, kind of scrunched it to the north here. So I don't even think you're in the, well, you're on the edge of it right here, yeah. But I would say Richland, it's not your problem. Lumpkin, it's not your problem. It's more of a Louisville, Brooklyn, Renfro even problem here on the 280 corridor and 27 corridor here. And again, we still have that warning for the next 5 minutes for Main Post and Chattahoochee County and the southwestern quarter Muskogee. That includes Oxbow Meadows, places down there. But I think we're okay there. We got some gusty winds from those storms, but those storms are now east of Main Post here. If you're the Harmony Church area, that one little access point there on 280 heading down toward Fort Benning, that's where the possible rotation is right now. But I think Main Post, Columbus, I think you're fine. I think the Muskogee part of that warning, you're fine. This is all Fort Benning land out here where it actually is right now. But again, here's that one rotation that's pretty stout here in northern Stewart County, just to the west of Louisville, heading off toward the east-northeast here. And again, it's heading more toward the northeast than it was, more due east. And again, here's a little path gas Tyler's putting on it here. So again, Friendship School, which is right there along 280 here, and that's going to be around 5:40 Eastern time. Gobbler's Hill 544, and that's over here on 26 corridor east of Chatco. So if you're on 26, really south of the area here and east of Chatco, you need to be watching this storm here as well. If anything, you'll get some gusty winds out of it. Even though there's nothing on the ground, if there's nothing on the ground, you'll still get from this rotation some pretty strong winds, 50, 60 miles an hour, not out of the question here with this feature here that's moving on through northern Stewart County, right on Louisville right now. So I got some friends down there in Louisville. I'm going to check and see if they've seen anything down there, hearing anything. And there's a rotation now, not as tight, not as impressive as it was a few scans ago, but if there was something down, it would be right here, just north of Highway 39 here, heading toward the town of Louisville, right on the path for Louisville here, and right over Louisville now. So heading toward Louisville, heading toward the Brooklyn area, Renfro, those places up here in southern Chattahoochee County as well, even though they're not under a warning. I'm telling you right now, if you're in southern part of Chattahoochee County, go ahead and seek shelter with this feature coming on through here next few minutes. Tyler?
Yeah, and we have this whole line of showers and thunderstorms that are certainly moving through, and we do have that tornado warning that's mainly focused for northern Stewart, southern Chattahoochee County. You know, technically, again, some disparity in the formal warnings that have been issued, but that's the way it goes when you have rotation kind of tightening up every now and then. But this whole line of storms extends basically from Shiloh and Pine Mountain and extending all the way up toward, say, Warm Springs and Manchester too. But we're seeing the most impressive parts of this line basically south of Columbus, southern Chattahoochee County, northern Stewart County at the moment, and we're certainly tracking those for you. The storms moving fairly quick. The good news is if you're in Alabama, you are all clear of severe weather. So our Alabama counties all clear of severe weather. We're going to be tracking this for the next couple hours in our Georgia counties. And keep in mind, we're still, 2 hours from daylight, so you're not going to see anything if you're outside. There's a lot of rain, a lot of moisture with these, as we typically see with severe thunderstorms and tornadic storms in our area. So it's going to be rain wrapped, and there's going to be some lightning and things like that. So these are all things that we're watching. We all have a tornado watch that still includes the area for a few more hours. So we're all going to have to watch for some possible tornadoes that briefly pop up. And now severe thunderstorm warnings go all the way to Americus, Plains, Ellaville, Butler. So pretty big chunk of warnings here that includes the area, and this eastern part of the warning basically goes and through the most of this, at least until the 6 o'clock hour. So again, you see that tornado possible tag. So even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning, the National Weather Service says that in addition to perhaps some pockets of strong damaging wind, we could have some brief tornadoes that show up as well. So we're doing our best. This isn't just a singular cellular event, a single cell that we're tracking. This is a line of storms, and it's extra hard to kind of zoom in to see what these storms are doing. So we kind of have to do it on a case-by-case basis, segment by segment. Starting to the south, we look at some storms. Let me switch radars here and show you the view from Fort Gaines. Some storms there, strong storms, and then as you go up further into Stewart County, again, we're looking at some very heavy rain here. Looks like the storm is losing that signature that it had just a little bit ago. That was more of the hook shape, more of the tornado shape. Still wants you to stay with this, and still wants you to be in that safe place. If you're in southern Chattahoochee County, northern parts of Stewart County, right over the Louisville community, and then Columbus, the rain is already lightening up, and that's the good news there. So the severe threat pretty much is over for Columbus. And as we go up toward Waverly Hall and Ellerslie, we're seeing some of that too into western Talbot County. But the bullseye kind of right now seems to be, but to a weaker extent, a lesser extent, right over the Chatco and Stewart County line that we're continuing to watch there. So it's 5:30 Eastern time, and we are able to give you the all clear if you're in Alabama right now from seeing some of that severe weather, but we still have some ongoing tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings for our area. It looks like still we have that tornado warning for Stewart County, western and northwestern parts of Webster County. That goes for a little bit longer, till about 5:45 or so, and this will continue to migrate to the east at about 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, my friend down there now saying it's super loud, like a deep wind in Louisville right now. So yeah, that's where that mesocyclone is. So yeah, even if it's not tornadic, we're getting circulation there.
All right, if you can.
Yeah, let's go ahead here and take this full here. And again, here's where that rotation would be right here. And here's the town of Louisville right here. And again, we've got some very strong winds here in Louisville, probably in the order of 40, 50 miles an hour, even if there's not a tornado down, just because we have rotation here. And again, you see how quickly these are moving here. So we're done with the severe weather. We still have rainfall here. How this radar works, once you see anything that's raining really hard, it doesn't really go past that. So this is where the really most intense of the line is right now, from about Eupatoy down through Fort Benning, down down through the Harmony Church area down near Casita. And again, here's where that one rotation is right here, down toward near Louisville and then down toward Lumpkin. If you're west of this line, you're fine. If you're east of the line, you still have to go another couple of hours here, some possible rotations and some gusty winds. And again, the main threat what we said all along is gusty winds. These tornadic circulations are kind of a coming and going thing here. And here's Tyler drawing the line, and then the Patton and smiley face here. So all of Lee County, all of Russell County, it's really all of Alabama, you're fine. If you're in our neck of the woods, if you're in our viewing area in Alabama, you're all clear. And really most of Harris County too. If you're really, I would say really all of Harris County, because the main line, the gust front's over Talbot County right now. So all of Harris County, you're fine too right now. So really it's extreme eastern Muskogee, the central really part of Chattahoochee and east of there, and then also in Stewart County, you still have the severe storms and possible tornadic circulation here right over the Louisville area, heading toward Brooklyn, heading toward that Renfro area in the next few minutes here. Tyler?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dana. So we're going to be watching that. It looks like things are settling down a little bit in this area. We still have a line of potentially strong, damaging wind gusts in some spots. Guys in the back, I want to get Chance Corbett ready to talk to him, just to check on things in Muskogee and parts of Russell County. So, and you know, let me know, give me the thumbs up when you're ready. But we'll talk about this as we get ready for the day. In a lot of cases, these storms move through fairly quickly, and they're basically the rain's going to last a couple hours behind the storms. Once we give you the all clear, doesn't mean we're all clear from rain, but the strongest storms have passed to your east by that point. And again, we're still looking at this area basically in southern parts of Chattahoochee County and northern parts of Russell County as well. So again, this is going to continue to move to the east. It's moving roughly at 35 miles per hour. So I have Chance Corbett here that, well, before we get to him, we got a new tornado warning that we just see popping up. So I need to mention that. That's for Chattahoochee County and Webster County. Would figure, right? When we're getting a lull in the action,
yeah,
but the same cell perking back up.
Yep.
And that includes basically the storm that is near Louisville, like Dana and I have been talking about. 7 miles south of Casita, is moving east just a little bit quicker. Some radar indicated rotation. Let's just take a look at what we have here and see that, make sure I'm on the right radar. Yeah, and you can see it's trying again. Yep. It's trying.
We do report the trees down in Louisville with this storm too. So even if it's tornadic or not, it's producing damage. So that's a key thing there.
Not real tight circulation right now, but there's certainly the possibility of at least some close to 60-mile-per-hour winds, if not a little bit higher. So we're going to watch that as it moves to the east here at 40 miles per hour. So let's kind of put a track on this and give you a heads up. Again, it includes northeastern Stewart County, northwestern Webster, southeastern Chattahoochee County, and also southern Marion County as well. So 4 counties in that warning area, but small corners, if you will, of those counties. So as it moves slightly north of due east, let's see, somewhere in this vicinity, assuming it basically keeps on its track, we're looking at basically moving into some of those churches there as we go into the more rural areas of southeastern parts of Stewart County, I'm sorry, northeastern Stewart, southeastern Chatco, southwestern Marion, and northwestern Webster County. This eventually could get kind of close to the Drainesville community, and that is in southern Marion County, so we're going to be watching that. Glen Alta, and as we look at Bergensville maybe as well. So these are all things that we're going to be watching with this storm that now prompted that latest tornado warning that includes Renfro, Brooklyn, Glen Alta, down toward Churchill and Drainville. So that also includes Buena Vista, but it remains to be seen if it's going to move that far north, something that we'll keep an eye on for sure. Here's the latest scan, and if you're in Louisville, I'd say basically near and west of 27, the storm is passing you, but there's been reports of some trees down that Dana said moving to the northeast right across the 280 corridor. So Renfro, Brooklyn, you need to be in that safe place right now for a little bit because there's some off and on rotation with this storm that may or may not be touching the ground, and then going up toward the northeast. If you're in the southwestern corner of Marion County from Buena Vista southward, just do me a favor, play it safe right now until the storm kind of settles down a little bit. We're going to get back to this tornado warning in a few minutes, but Chance Corbett, our Muskogee County EMA Director, is standing by, and also Russell County Commissioner too. And tell me, Chance, what are you seeing and hearing about this morning as people are getting ready for work and school?
Well, Tyler, it obviously started over in Alabama, and we were watching the storms as they approached. We're in our emergency operations center watching it, and as that warning lit up in Russell County, we understand there's no damage reports, but they have a lot of power outages. Over in Muskogee County, it really just took on the lower part of Columbus, and we had about 6 sirens activate because of the tornado warning, but that tornado warning, I think you can confirm, has just expired for us as this.
Chance, are you still there?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, just lost you for that last little bit. So yeah, you said six sirens went off in Muskogee County, and there's 48 or so in Muskogee County. How many?
We have we have 47. Only 6 went off because that's the only ones that were affected.
Yes, and that's the beauty of the system that you kind of helped curtail and design, or at least implement, because no reason to get the warning if you're in Midland or Upatoy and the storm is in the southern part of Muskogee County. Obviously that's passed. What are some things that you think residents and commuters should keep in mind as they're getting ready to head out this morning?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is be careful. Don't go out in the middle of a storm. It's starting to move across Muskogee County now. It'll be out of here pretty soon, as you've been saying. Once it gets out of here, it's not going to be a concern other than some rain. So.
Yeah, we're already seeing things drastically improve in much of the county, really light rain. And I think we can pretty much go ahead and give the all clear for most of Muskogee County in terms of severe weather. While the rain may continue and you may still see flashes of lightning with some of these storms, that's the good news. So what other things, you recap the power outages for me if you don't mind.
Yeah, so, according to our data right now, we don't have a lot of power outages in Muskogee County. That may get updated here in a few minutes. I was told earlier by David Martin across the river in Russell, they had about 1,200, I believe, power outages. So, we may start getting more. I know we've had a lot of burglar alarms and things like that were going off, the police department was responding to. But other than that, right now, no reports of damage.
Yeah, and that's good. 46-mile-per-hour wind gusts, though, recorded at the airport. So that is sometimes enough to bring down some trees and some power lines. So that's something I know you all will be monitoring very carefully there as we look at the radar picture across our area and see those storms moving through. So, Chance, thank you so much for your time. And if there's anything that comes up or you hear any reports, please make sure you let our team know. So thank you again, Chance, the EMA Director for Muskogee County. All right. So we're still tracking that tornado warning that no longer includes southern Muskogee County, but there is one that includes the southeastern corner of Chattahoochee County, northeastern Stewart, southwestern Marion, and northwestern Webster County at the moment. And this one is still going to go into effect for a little while, and we're just not seeing any clear signs of rotation right now. That's the good news. Let's see. Again, we've had some reports of trees down. Dana was telling you about that about 15 or 20 minutes ago in Louisville. But the good news is, while there's a tornado warning in place, it's kind of getting into that radar zone that's a little hard to see, too. But we're not seeing any tight circulation now, are we, Dana?
No, and then late reports too, Russell County, David Martin, as Chance was saying, he's on chat right now, saying there was trees down in the area of Highway 26 and Tammy Place, and that was that chubby circulation that you were watching, Tyler, before that warning was issued there. So yeah, I think we're quieting down in Columbus. We're done with it in Columbus, but there's still that one circulation here. We see that kind of a barber pole shape here. Now over Brooklyn, Louisville all clear, Omaha all clear. It's really if you want to draw kind of a polygon, it's the northeastern corner, Stewart, the southeastern corner, Chatco, into Buena Vista. Though Buena Vista, you're under a tornado warning. So if you're anywhere in Marion County here, Buena Vista down 41 here toward Churchill, northwestern corner of Webster. Not many people out here. Most population in Webster is down in Preston and Weston. So not many people here in Webster part of this tornado warning, but there are a lot of people here in Marion County. So if you're on Highway 26, especially west of Buena Vista here, you need to be seeking shelter because this rotation that has produced damage in Louisville. So it doesn't matter if the tornado, if it was down as a tornado or not. We've had trees down in Louisville and damage as a result of this storm. So I would say it's right here where Webster, Stewart, Chatco, Marion all come together. I would say it's right on that Four Corners area right now, if you will, heading off toward the east-northeast here. So Bergenville and then into Buena Vista here. So if you're anywhere here, Marion County High School, it's about right here. So it's going to go, I think, south of the high school. But if you're downtown Buena Vista and south toward where the airport, I think the airport's down here. Yeah, this is it right here. Marion County Airport's right here. So where that little airport field is down here on 41. Anywhere in this area right here, I would say you need to be seeking shelter immediately from this storm. You're under this tornado warning until, I believe, 6 a.m. Eastern time for this rotation here, produced damage back in Stewart County. We don't know if it was tornadic damage or not, but it doesn't matter. We still have that warning here, and here's a polygon here. So it goes up to the high school. It does go up that area, not up toward the Juniper area, but it goes toward Buena Vista, the 26 corridor near Glen Alta, and over toward Chattahoochee County, then down here all the way down northwestern parts of Webster County until 6 a.m. This is the old warning for Stewart that will expire here in the next few minutes, a couple of minutes here, but we'll still have that warning here for parts of Marion, Webster, and Chatco until 6 a.m. So yeah, kind of see a little S shape right here where it kind of has that little notch, that little curly Q is right here just north of the Brooklyn area. It's where we're seeing that rotation, that possible tornado that has produced damage back to the west here. Casita, I think you're fine. Casita, you're all clear. Really, if you're 27 right now in west, I think you're all clear. It's really right here in this area. So this is out of America, this rotation here. So this is the advantage of that radar. We got pretty good rotation here. You can kind of see it right here away towards, so I would say right here in northeastern corner of Stewart County, if you will, head on toward the east-northeast here, toward Buena Vista is where this rotation, possible tornado, and strong winds no matter what. Again, doesn't matter if tornadoes on the ground or not, it's going to produce damage and produce some gusty winds here. Here's some arrival times here. Marion County Airport at 6:03. That's what this Marion County is. That's where the airfield is south of Buena Vista here, around 6:03 Eastern time frame. That's past the expiration time in the warning too. So we'll see if keep the warning up for Marion County past the 6 o'clock expiration time here. This rotation moves on all toward the east-northeast here. So again, this is the only game in town. Most of us, though, east of this line are going to get thunderstorm warning. So gusty winds all up and down the line here, no matter where you are. This is the only one that has really a tornadic circulation to it or possible tornado here. And again, the Four Corners area here, just joining us, the warning goes till 6 a.m. for the northern extremity here of Webster, northeastern Stewart, southeastern Chattahoochee, and southwestern Marion County includes Buena Vista. The biggest city in that warning right now is Buena Vista. Tyler?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dana. And we're continuing to track the overall line of storms, watching for any little kinks in the line that may be producing some rotation. It's important to know that even places like Americus and Ellaville, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. The storms that could be capable of producing 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in a little bit. So we'll track this out. We'll do a wide track of these storms, even though on the northern extent, north of Buena Vista, up toward Geneva and Juniper and Box Springs, and even Talbotton, you're not really as much in a severe weather threat as it stands now, but we're still going to be looking at some rain and storms impacting some of you as the morning commute goes on. So with this current motion in place, I'll put a track on this and show you when some of the heaviest rain, gustiest winds and whatnot move through. By the way, seeing some storms approaching Shellman too. So here's the track moving toward Butler around 6 o'clock, and you can see Americus around 6:23. and Andersonville just before 6:30 Eastern Time. This is all thanks to our exclusive Americas radar that we are using right now. Not as concerning in terms of a rotation, but we still have a tornado warning that continues until 6 o'clock for the southeastern part, southern part of Marion County, southeastern part of Chattahoochee County, northeastern Stewart County, and northwestern Webster County. But Buena Vista is that main population center that we're looking at with this storm as it moves through with possible rotation. You can definitely see it almost looks like a little seahorse there. That little hook, that little notch in the line, that's where we have the apparent possible tornado right there on all 4 county lines. And we could see it better kind of with the rain, honestly, than the wind. So it just goes to show you that you're not going to see anything if you were to step outside. There's too much rain, too much moisture around, and it looks like now a new severe thunderstorm warning has been added for places like Talbot County, and that includes also parts of Upson County, northern Taylor County too, a little bit farther north along this line. So again, pockets of damaging wind possible anywhere along this line. It's moving pretty quickly, pretty steadily to the east, maybe not as quickly as we'd like it, but we're on track for this to completely move through our area by 7 or 7:30 at the latest. Thomaston seeing some storms. Talbotton, most of the action is on the south and east side of town. And here's the visual of that new severe thunderstorm warning that really includes east of Talbotton, Butler, and Highway 19 from Butler to Thomaston, and as you extend farther north as well. But we still have the tornado warning that's going to go for about another 12 minutes or so. That includes really basically southwestern Marion County, northwestern Webster County at this point. It's kind of moving out of Chattahoochee County and Stewart County, thankfully. This is being picked up on our exclusive Americas radar. Seeing maybe another little C-shaped hook trying to form there west of Preston, so we're going to watch that. I'm going to just look. Don't see much of a signature with it. That's the good news, but just simply an observation that I'm noticing just by scanning up and down this line as it moves through our area. So let me switch and see what the velocity is looking like for the storm as it moves into southwestern Marion County, northwestern Webster County. Right there, just maybe a little broad rotation, some strong winds. But again, we got to watch out on the south side of Buena Vista and southern Marion County. Could kind of go between Drainville and Buena Vista. If a tornado, were to drop at any time, that's maybe where it would be. So somewhere in that southwestern corner of Marion County below Buena Vista, that's what we're looking at. Again, the apparent rotation at the moment is right in here, and it's not a real tight rotation, thankfully, but there's some signs every now and again that it's still a mean-looking storm. And again, we got to respect these storms as they move through. We've been talking about them for a couple of days. Really, we mentioned that about 10-12 days ago that as this weather would change from warm to cooler today, we would see some rain and storms and potentially some strong storms nearby, and that is coming to fruition this morning. Hopefully without much damage, but we've had some sporadic trees and power lines down, even going back to Opelika and Beauregard. We had a couple of tornadoes that kicked off the morning during the 3 o'clock central hour in Barber County. Eventually went from Clio and Blue Springs and Louisville. There was another one, Clayton and Eufaula were included. Russell County was under a tornado warning, and then we had a few that popped up elsewhere. But this line, as it moves to the east, potentially producing off and on some severe weather, and that's what we're looking at. Here we are at 10 to 6 Eastern time, and this is the view from our exclusive Americas radar as it moves through. It's our favorite thing to do here at Channel 9 and give you the all clear. So we want to give you that all clear where it's due and where we should respect. So basically, as I draw this line here from anywhere to the left of that line, you're clear. So that includes Columbus and LaGrange, basically anywhere near the Chattahoochee River, and then westward, all of East Alabama. You've been in the clear for 20, 30 minutes now. If you're to the right of the line, still got to watch. So we'll put our smiley face right there, the Dana Barker signature there.
There you go.
So yeah, that's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, looking at a couple of things here on my phone here. Dew point in Americus right now is 71. Dew point in Dawson is 72. That's the fuel for these storms. Yeah, and they have yet to go through those areas. So that's the fuel we've got east of here still.
Yeah, that's definitely concerning for sure. And you know, Cuthbert already got the storms. You know, it just looks like a pretty impressive line of storms moving through Shellman right now. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, pop the warnings on real quick. Just to the south, there's a huge like whack-a-mole tornado warning for South Georgia. Yeah, here it is right here.
Wow.
Now, this is an observed tornado down here, over here, just east of Dothan. But look at this, Blakely all the way over toward Calhoun County. This is an Albany problem. This is WALB territory. But if you got friends in Southwest Georgia right now, this is a huge warning here they've issued down here for parts. It looks like the Early County, Calhoun County. This is Miller County right here, Baker County. Those counties down here. This is because they got several rotations. It's kind of like we saw up to the north here, but they actually warn for individual rotations. What they're doing here is just blanketing it with one big warning. So that's it's just a difference of ways of approaching things here. There's no way is wrong or right. So that's what they see down here. So if you got any friends and family down in Southwest Georgia, Blakely to the east here, this is Colquitt, Georgia right here, not popping up on our graphics here, and Arlington, Georgia is right here. So there's some decent sized cities in this tornado warning here, but to the north, the only game in town is that one warning here. For now, it looks like it's updated. So Stewart's out of the warning, and I would say Chatco's out of the warning too. I don't know why they kept this little sliver of Chattahoochee in here. And really Stewart. I think it's a Marion County problem now, and solely in Marion County here, heading on toward the east-northeast. I think it'd be right about here right now in southwestern Marion County, heading out toward the east-northeast here toward Buena Vista. And again, the polygon goes to the north of Buena Vista toward Marion County High School and places like that. But I think the main threat here, and Tyler and I have been saying this all along, is going to be south of here. Here's where the rotation is, right here, back to the southwest of Buena Vista. So if we draw it out east-northeast here, it's going to go right along here. So it'll be maybe a south side of Buena Vista, Marion County Airport right here, then Highway 26 goes out here toward Ellaville. So Marion County Airport, and it's kind of been on brand. We said 603 before, now it's 604. So we're keeping the decent speed here. Doyle at 610. Doyle is right here on Highway 26, going out between Buena Vista and Ellaville. So if you're on Highway 26 east of Buena Vista toward the Schley County line, or if you're on 41 south of Buena Vista down toward Highway 30 here. There's the old Tri-County High School down here at Drainville. Highway 30 goes toward Americus, 41 goes down toward Preston. Anywhere in these areas right here, seek shelter for me because we have that rotation that's caused damage in northern Stewart County, confirmed damage in Louisville from this storm, some tree damage. But again, strong winds no matter what, even if it's not tornadic or on the ground here. And here's a new scan, and
it's a messy one.
Yeah, it gets kind of messy here. It gets kind of messy with the Americas radar because we're going through the storm, looking at it here, and it's a different. To call a spade, the radar that we have exclusive here is not the government radars can be high powered. The ones we have in Americas sometimes don't really get through the storm here to show you. But here's rotation here. I have one of our radars here. It looks like maybe Peachtree City is due south of there. So this would be the rotation right here. So south of 26, west of 41, heading over toward just south of Buena Vista here. Downtown Buena Vista, it's going to be a close call for you. But if you're in Buena Vista and south, you'll be seeking shelter. Tazewell, I think you're okay. Mock, I think you're okay. Juniper, I think you're okay. But it's mainly a southern Marion County problem here, south of 26 here, and along the 41 corridor near the Marion County Airport. And again, the Doyle area here, Putnam, and then Schley County here. We'll see if they extend the warning in here for Schley. And here's another good-looking view of it. We got a little rotation here, and we have a little bit of where it's weakened right here is where something's pushing it up. That's where the updraft's pushing the storm up and pushing the rainfall up. So right about here is where the rotation would be, about to be on 41 here, south of Buena Vista and just north of the Drainville area. Tyler?
Yeah, thank you, Dana. So we are tracking that and just kind of switching sources between our different radars to give you that best view. As Dana was saying, the Americas radar shoots right up into that range. So some vantage points and some parameters of the storms that we're looking at are really kind of difficult to see. But I think it kind of shows the rain and the storms pretty well. And I might add the lightning, too. There's not a whole lot of lightning with this. It might actually not even pick up the lightning from the Americas radar site let's see if it just shows anything different when we take that off. Same lightning, just different source, the radar. Okay, so as we look at the storms as they pass through, you can see Shellman getting some of the storms too, and I will point out there's a severe thunderstorm warning that in the last 5 minutes was added to include some other northern areas, but it kind of overlaps some of the other ones that are here. Bottom line is, as messy as this warning map looks, severe thunderstorm warnings with a tornado possible at any time could be stretching down the Highway 19 corridor through about 6:30. So if you're from really Ellaville, you know, and up toward Butler, even Thomaston, but more likely maybe down to Americus, where the air is just a little bit juicier and prime for severe weather. We could be seeing something briefly spinning up. So we're going to stay with us as long as we have an active tornado warning. The tornado warning should go away at 6, which I think, you know, all signs are that it looks like it has actually expired. Yep. So that's good. Been canceled a little early. And we're going to be watching the gusty winds out ahead of this. So as it moves toward the east into western Sumter County. So I'll tell you what, maybe Dana, you can weigh in on this. Maybe toward the top of the hour we could get some news headlines in and weather headlines in.
Absolutely, yeah. The flat expire at 6. I don't think we'll see anything else tornadic wise here. I got to kind of watch this one, though. we say that. Then this one here right over Preston and Webster County, too. And again, like I was telling Tyler, dew point here is 71. Dew point here is 72. We've got some, it's like 93 octane gas in your car. We've got a lot of moisture here and a lot of unstable air still to go through in Sumter County, Sly County, and we've almost all the way through Stewart. Terrell and Lee are Albany market counties, but we've still got eastern Webster. We got all of Sumter, all of Sly to go through here. So we'll keep it here. You know, I think we can go back to a normal morning show, though. I think I agree, Tyler. But you got to watch this here. We'll keep an eye on it for you here, and we'll hop right back in, of course, if anything changes here. But again, it's right on the 41 corridor now. So if you are west of Highway 41, I would say that's your proxy. So 41 goes really from Preston and Buena Vista to Talbotton up here. If you're west of 41, you're done with severe weather. If you're east of 41, hang on for the next, I would say hour or two, Tyler, and then we'll be all done with this line and be over in central Georgia and out of our hair.
Yeah, they just extended the tornado watch farther to the east based on this environment that Dana was talking about. So, you know, that would extend past our area, but over toward Lake Blackshear and Cordele and the I-75 corridor. But just based on, you know, what we've seen the last couple hours, that's what we believe. And as we kind of maybe wrap up here for now, but still obviously we'll keep tabs on this. New severe thunderstorm warning includes the eastern part of Randolph County. Really it's the far eastern part into Terrell County and off to the southeast along this line. National Weather Service in Tallahassee kind of pushing these storms out and seeing some gusty winds on the order of 60 miles per hour, so some damaging winds are certainly possible. So again, we'll watch any little kinks or nodules along that line that may briefly produce a tornado or two. We're going to keep a close eye on that one over Preston, eastern Webster County. So we're going to look out for you, Plains, Americus, and points in between there as we go into the next little bit. But scanning up and down this line, I think there's reason to believe that we can kind of breathe a little bit from the weather. We're still going to track the storms carefully, but we're seeing at least, I don't want to say the Q word, but at least a slowing down of the activity in terms of the tornadic possibly producing storms for now. But it could briefly spin up at any time, so that's something that we're going to watch very carefully. Tornado watch still in effect for our eastern counties. We'll be watching that through the next hour or so. And again, we can give the all clear now that it's the top of the hour here, and we'll get ready to go into some news headlines for the day. But you could see kind of basically west of 41, anywhere to the left of that line of storms, you're in the clear in terms of severe weather. However, as we switch radar sources, you'll see that rain still lingers beyond that. But the storm threat is basically in that darker shaded area right down from Talbot, Marion, Webster County and into Terrell County as well. So again, we'll look out for Schley and Sumter counties here next. We'll keep you posted here in the Storm Team 9 Alert Center, and we'll keep tracking this throughout the morning show.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WTVM News Leader 9 Morning. Sponsored by Montlick Injury Attorneys.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for being with us for News Leader 9. I'm Cheryl Renee.
And Ben Stanfield, good to be with you this morning, friends. You've been watching storm coverage for the last hour here on our programming, hour plus, I should say. Thanks to Dana and Tyler for their significant contributions this morning, keeping folks informed about where these storms and tornado warnings have been through our viewing area.
And because of the potential for bad weather across our area, we have Lee County, Alabama schools, the Harris County School District, and the Meriwether County School System, all starting 2 hours late this morning. This means if your child usually catches a bus at 7 a.m. local time, they won't be picked up until 9 a.m. local time. Muskogee County is on a 1-hour delay. For any additional weather-related changes, just be sure to download the WTVM News and Weather apps.
All right, let's get into some of the headlines of the day, and let's begin with election coverage. The race for Columbus's District 5 City Council seat heating up as a Columbus attorney challenges the sitting councilor.